difficult road ahead of him, it seems like. They've got a ton of poke potential between Taiga and Acids. I mean, oof. Nice shatter from this guy.
Elated is doing what he can to keep him safe, and it's not just preventing the damage, it is just putting kind of the fear of shatter in them, and that's the most important thing. Every time they come in to try to land a Bramble Crush or they try to land a Chains of Fate, he's responding with a few Ice Lances into a shatter just to put down some damage on them, and it's making them very scared to do this. Acids and Taiga trying to do everything they can to push this lane up. Volek is going to go ahead and go to his small mushroom camp and transition that into his blue buff. Salus, you see, already with 2 of his buffs, while Cuss is actually going to be working on his 3rd buff, so Volek clearing very, very effectively.
Salus was kind of waiting in the wings, seeing if he could line up that Judgment on a skill shot, but little did he know SG had that ward bush. I think Salus sniffed that out because they immediately backed off as soon as he showed up. And he was like, all right, the gig's up. They know I'm here.
It's one of the important things, like, when you have vision on someone, when you have such a great ward that spots someone out like that, you have to do your best acting. You know, you have to almost bait them into thinking that you don't know they're there. You have to be, oh, I'm so lonely. What do I do? I'm all alone. And then all of a sudden, whenever they try something, you're like, oh, I knew you were there the entire time. It's wasting his time, and that's what SG needs to do right now, because as we said, the feature matchup right here is Cuss and Yagachu. Wasting as much of Yagachu's time as possible is super important for SG to really win this game. Yagachu's going to come in for this gank, does land it onto Acids. The icebergs come out, but a blink over them will save Zalgus' life. Taiga getting very low, but a great 3-man chain almost saves him. Mara still goes down to that last attack of Elated. A great gank from base puts him right back into this game and into the lead.
All right, well, that's a nice start for Based right there. Lining up that kill, up 1-0, first blood. What does that do? If Mara gets behind, she kind of becomes a non-factor really early on.
Yeah, it's rough for her, but she is a shaper that scales very well. I mean, she picks up her passive Seeds of Life. She gets tankier and tankier. As the game goes on, she just becomes a monster, right?
She does, but I think she, more than maybe some other tanks, actually relies on the lane presence, being in lane, being around when the last hits are happening. Like you said, being able to pick up those acorns, the Seeds of Life, because she needs that scaling.
Yeah. The thing about the Seeds of Life is, you know, you may not optimally get every single Seed of Life during laning phase, but it's a passive that obviously never goes away, right? Like, you're always going to be able to get it practically infinitely. Cuss is going to come into this lane from the armor buff. He is level 7 now, so he is 2 levels ahead of Salus.
That is terrifying. You've got a Volek with a Damnation already. You've got a Salus, not quite there. What does Salus do? Does he just hang out in the jungle? Does he farm, or does he double down and focus more on the ganking?
I mean, the jungle is a dangerous place for him. I mean, Cuss has freely roamed into the armor buff, into that leftmost Spirit Well jungle a few times already, and it's not a good place for Yagachu to be. If he gets called out, Volek can beat a Salus, right? Yep. 1v1. That Curse of Weakness, the Devour haste buff, the Damnation life drain, all of that stuff amounts to winning a 1v1, a great duelist. Salus needs his team to really follow up on it. Yagachu, yet another ward, standing on top of it, and SG again acting, oh, we don't know you're there, until the last minute when they strike.
We could see a judgment coming out from Yagachu right here if they line it up. No, it doesn't look like they're going to bite into it. This would be
really, really dangerous for Based, I feel. I mean, level 5, King of Mass and Michaela, there is a level 6 Salus, so he does have the absolution, but again, like, Yagachu is unknowingly wasting his time, and that is exactly where Cuss wants it to be. Cuss staying in that lane, he's soaking up experience, right? And his team is coming ahead by damaging the binding a little bit, while Yagachu sits there waiting for an opportunity that never comes.
Yep.
He is still 2 levels behind this Volek and has made up almost none of that ground in the past 45 seconds to a minute.
As aggressive as SG is being with their warding on the top lane, the bot lane, they're playing, I would say, a lot more conservatively. Acids and Taiga falling a little bit behind the lane swap, actually, that happened right there.
Ping is coming out from base around the Parasite. Maybe curious to see if Volek is trying to do an early Parasite. They understand now that the ward is down that is not the case. Volk's going to go ahead and return and start to do his second round of buffs with that power buff up top. Yagachu, again, in this lane, not spotted out by a ward just yet. He is now informed that there is no ward in that brush because those minions would have aggroed him otherwise. But in that north brush, if he gets a little bit too aggressive, he will get seen out. Zalgus and Mara are going to use this opportunity to go back and purchase some items. And Yagachu is going to go back into his jungle where he just needs to be. He's now a whole level behind that Volek. Zalgus purchases an early aggression plus that life. Mara with the pride and hunger. And of course, let's see. This siege is just going on. It's just happening. You know, base can't really do a whole lot out of it. And this is the game that SG wants it to be. You know, Cuss told us they were scared of kind of the solo queue superstars that are base. They said, if we survive 10 to 15 minutes, we'll be good for the entire game. And they're not only surviving, they're keeping even, and albeit maybe even a little winning if they take this.
This is a little dangerous right here.
The Reverie from Dibs at point blank. The Avalanche comes out stunning Cuss. The Uprising absolutely destroys the Volek. Evaniscus is in the back line trying to do everything he can as King of Mass. But Dong Lu barely sidesteps at the final chapter from Zalgus. Taiga goes down. Evanis is caught by the icebergs. The judgment from Yagachu is absolutely huge, but the three-man chains of fate coming backwards. This could still be a good fight for SG. For Russ is trying to do as much damage. The Nightmare proc destroys King of Mass and Michaela's life bars. And Parasite is acting like another member of SG's team right now, bringing Yagachu very low. Based, stopping Parasite. Based, picking up 2 kills for 1. Looking really, really good so far in this game.
Looking really strong there. Acid's just completely whiffing on his final chapter there. Final chapter was like very ineffective. However, that being said, Don Lu on Basco, man, double uprising
Fantastic
in people's
ultimate.
face. Really good job. Great ultimate there. Didn't actually get a kill out of it, but did manage to end up with 3 assists. So
yeah,
really well. Or 2 more assists out of that.
Playing really well, and actually, interestingly enough, starting with a Wither.
Yep. That's not. I think that's not common. I would definitely say that's true, not common, but it's a solid start for Elaine Basco because your problem isn't necessarily closing in on them; it's just keeping them there.
Yeah. All right, looks like after that explosive action, we are going to go ahead and return to this laning phase. No para taken for either team. SG gave it their best effort, but were forced off of it after a fantastic 2-for-1 exchange in the favor of base. But Elated is now the target of the ire. The Chains of Fate comes down, locking him up. The Great Rift is going to deal a little bit of damage to him, but forced backwards. The icebergs came out from him to stop Volek dead in his tracks, and he's going to be able to escape that one, live to fight another day. Forest, Shivy, Ghosty, and Evaniscus trading mercilessly up in this top lane. Down bot, Mara and Zalgus also doing their best to trade back against this low health Sakari and this beefy Basco.
Beefy. Now you're making me hungry, Brad.
We'll get lunch soon. Don't worry, Andy. Down bot, Volek is going to go ahead and invade a little bit into this jungle. Little does he know there's a Salus right around this corner. I wonder if anything will come of it. Don Lu and Yagachu are in hot pursuit of this Volek. But it looks like he's going to be able to get on out of there by taking the small camp, but leaving one alive just for good measure, not allowing it to respawn as quickly as Yagachu would like it to be.
Based up 3-1. Lanes are kind of at a little bit of a standstill right now as they go back and forth.
SG just hoping for that late game team coordination to pay dividends. Right now they're behind, like you said, 3 kills to 1. Spirit Well Workers are even 54-54. Basco's going to go ahead and put a deep ward, it looks like, near that mushroom camp that is now deceased. But they're able to see, SG able to spot out what just happened, or pinging exactly where that ward is located. Right now, Salus level 9 to Volek's level 10, so he's starting to catch up a little bit, but he is not quite there, just nipping at the heels of Volek's really, really heavy farm and level advantage.
Gotta love Taiga with the Spider-Man action. Just vine whipping from Tree of Life to Tree of Life to Tree of Life.
Again, it looks like we're going to see a very familiar 3-man siege up top, but Yagachu making his presence known to himself this time. Last time it was unbeknownst to him. He was sitting on top of a ward for about 30 seconds. So he's going to take this opportunity to show himself. He's going to go ahead and move on down while Volek checks that armor buff, realizing it's not up. He already has one of his own. He was just trying to be greedy there, so he's going to go ahead and take money pigs for his effort.
I want to point this out. We are 12 and a half minutes into this game, and there has not been a Parasite kill. That is the first time, I think, in this tournament that we have not seen the early Stage 1 Parasite. It is at this rate, it is entirely possible that we could get into a stage 2 Parasite
For the first one.
for the first kill.
Absolutely. We are a few minutes away from that. We'll see if Yagachu can make anything happen down bot lane. It is quite pushed up in their favor, so gank would have to result in a binding dive. Not quite sure that's something you want to do, especially against Amara and a Zalgus.
Absolutely. This is an interesting game because even though Based is up 3-1 right now, SG has been playing this game as though they're dominating it. You know, we were talking about the strong laning phase from Based. SG's actually shown a very strong laning phase, especially with King of Mass and Michaela up top.
Yeah, they're playing with confidence. You know, they know that they're a fantastic team, and like we talked to Cuss earlier today, he knows that they can win late game, and that's what they're trying to do. So they're not getting down on themselves. They're not kicking themselves. They're not saying, we got forced off Parasite and they want to trade. Right. Oh, well, game's over. GG, guys. They're saying, we can do this. They've got a positive attitude. They're being as optimistic as they possibly can. All they need to do is survive this laning phase of Based, which is super strong. That blue buff is going to come up, and Yagachu is going to pop those Spirit Seals and Judgment to go ahead and take it. Looks like, I mean, SG pushed up top. Based push up down bot. These lanes are kind of, you know, opposites right now.
So we have Cuss at level 11. He is leading the way on the board right now. He's got that level 2 damnation. He could jump in there and just be all up in their faces.
We'll see what happens. Don Lu on Basco has his glory built right now, so he's dealing that AoE burn damage plus a little bit of armor to boot. Yagachu this time not an award. Lands a judgment, goes into the Mar. The iceberg onto 2 members of SG, but the reverie from Dibs is going to bring it in. This is going to be a 4v3 in the favor of Based. Cuss goes down. Mar may also fall. Yagachu is expertly focusing down Acid. The final chapter eliminates him. He gets the reset, but barely misses Basco, and he's forced to blink over the icebergs coming out from Sakari. That is a 2-for-1 trade in the favor of Based once again.
2-for-1 trade, but oh my god.
Oh, the finale. The Chains of Fate to the finale. Not quite able to do it. That binding was too busy focusing creeps to really give SG the damage that they needed. Final Payment's going to try to take down Dibs with some good blocking from Elated. Will keep his little furry friend alive. The iceberg, the tailwind. Will he be able to make it out of the collateral? Not quite enough. Delights takes him down underneath his own binding, and Elated gets shut down.
Boy, oh boy, the spells that were burned on that one. Tailwind, Blink, Michaela's Final Payment. They wanted those kills, and they got it.
Nothing you could do.
Yep.
Wow, that was super close. He was all but dead, and that Endless Lights coming out from King of Mass is going to go ahead and seal the deal, and this turns into a potential Parasite from SG.
This is a tier 2 Parasite. I would have said that this was going to be a little bit risky, but nope. Here's Cuss, respawn just in time. Here's Taiga. I think SG's going to take this fairly uncontested at this point.
Yeah, these two teams are going blow for blow right now.
Absolutely.
These fights are explosive. Based keeps coming out barely on top.
Yep.
But then maybe they stay around for a little bit too long. They give up a kill, which gives up a Parasite. And right now, SG is not a team you want to give those small advantages to, because they will add up and you will lose the game eventually because of SG's fantastic team coordination and team play late game.
And stick around, guys. After this game, we're going to have an announcement, and then we're going to be coming into Game 2 of this series, where we're going to have a very special color commentator. I'm going to be taking a step aside, and we're actually going to have the one and only MJ Spinal Dash Perez coming and stepping in to do a little color commentary.
As unbiased as possible.
As
his
unbiased
former
as
teammates
possible.
on SG. Going to go ahead. Hopefully he's casting in a moment where they're one game up rather than one game behind. We'll see if he's that lucky. This game so far incredibly close. 5 kills to 3 in the favor of Based. 54 Spirit Well workers apiece. So no Spirit Well harass going on just yet. The buffs are coming up right now. Volk's going to go ahead and take that. You see 5 members of Based in this bot lane looking for potential 5v5. You know, if you hit tab right now and you saw you were ahead in kills, you'd feel really good. But I'd be willing to bet that this Vim is just about it.
I think that would probably be a pretty good statement, although it may come out a little bit ahead in the favor of Cuss because he's been farming so well.
SG looks like they're going to transition this into a Spirit Well capture or potential Spirit Well capture. Can Based do anything about this? This is not a very good place for them to be. You see Don Lu over on the sides. Does get revealed by that burden of knowledge, so SG well aware that he's here, and since he got revealed, Based decides to run out of there. But the consolation prize, the party favor from Dibs, is going to be a top Spirit Well. They know that everyone on SG is bottom. But this means this is a 4v5 potential binding siege from SG. That's what they're going to do. They have to keep pressing the advantage. They take a Spirit Well. Base takes a Spirit Well. Now SG takes a Binding. Base cannot really respond in kind with a Binding of their own, so they're going to come out ahead.
I don't like that call from Dibs. He really shouldn't have Reverie'd up to that well. I mean, the strength of Reverie, yes. Map dominance, map presence, very strong. But you absolutely cannot underestimate the power buff, the AoE power buff that you get from that.
I mean, at the cost of the Binding, it's not worth it. You know, ultimate ability and stat boost and power or whatever aside from Reverie,
the Binding
was lost, and that's not very good. Based hopefully can respond with this Binding. They know that 2 members of SG are up top. This is going to be an easy, looks like it's going to be an easy Binding for them to take. However, look at this trade again. Well for well, Binding for Binding, tit for tat, blow for blow. These teams are super evenly matched, and they're both exceptionally coordinated and fantastic players.
All right, we're seeing, like you said, we're seeing a well for a well. Not going to see a really big swing in the economy one way or the other. However, Cuss and Iron Rust, they're going to take this top Binding. Yep. But look at this down bottom. Based is going to be sieging another tier 2 Binding right here. I mean, seriously, it's like a teeter-totter right now.
How
up and
far
down,
do you
back
go?
and forth.
This is a game of chicken right now. Base saying we have to engage. It is 5v3. What can we do? Chaos Shell misses. Uprising does land on the Zalgus. Mara with the Force of Nature. Maybe too tanky for Base to take down. The final chapter comes out, not quite killing anyone just yet. The Avalanche in the backline will lock down a few members of SG. Elated is able to get 1 kill. Taiga has been surviving this entire time, and he finally goes down. That's Elated double kill. But a tier 3 Binding down up top for 2 kills? I don't know if that's a great value. I don't know.
It's definitely not a great value at all. Wow, and look at that, Based, super low. Here comes Volek. This could be bad news for Based.
All members of Based have to take down this raid boss Cuss right now on Volek. He may not get a kill for his troubles. He does go down. So looking more and more worth for Based after that. Cuss trying to make a play, trying to be the hero. Oh, they're all low. They're all backing right now. And now is it Evaniscus' turn to try the same thing? Will he go down? Don Lu getting the stun with the onslaught, but Michaela Fairust is here now. The Reverie from Dibs will put him right in the middle of things. The Duress will lock Fairust down after a blink. The final protocol will be blocked out by most of the members of Base, and Dibs is going to live to fight another day. Wow. This game is
that was actually not a final protocol.
Final payment.
Final payment, yes.
Of course. Ghosty does have that Duress and Petulance. You see Elated with that Devotion and Duress, so double Duress right now from the Spirits, from the Mortal side rather. A 6-1 and 2 Sakari. She has pretty much all of her team kills at this point. Yagachu with the Rebirth and Ambition. Shivi with that Ambition, Command, and Pain. And Don Lu on Basco, Stability, Glory, and Discipline.
Just to point something out really quickly about Elated, she does have pretty much all of her team's kills, and that's actually a concern. Because the later in the game you get, the more Sakari's damage falls off, the less effective she becomes from a damage perspective. She's still super useful from a crowd control, from zoning and things like that, but she's not going to hit as hard.
Don Lu trying to sneak around the side. The Judgment comes out, landing onto 3 members of SG. I mean, this is the scariest possible moment for Based right now. SG's team comp in these narrow corridors is amazing.
Yes.
Damnation, Finale, Final Chapter, Chains of Fate. You don't want to face these guys in a quarter. They have a really fantastic Parasite control because of it. Based has to take their time. They have to slowly move in. They've got some good wards on Parasite, which will be able to spot out any potential threats or ganks or traps being set by SG. But right now, it looks like they're going to turn their attention to the top tier 1 Binding. Going to bring it down to about half health. One more good push will probably take that down. But that Binding, they have nowhere to fall back to in the top lane. All 3 Bindings are dead.
They do not, but right now, not a big deal. It looks as though both teams are kind of posturing, trying to get a good, kind of a temperature check on where the other team is. Do they para? Do they not para? It's a little bit of dancing back and forth right now.
Looks like most of the team is going to go bot for Based. SG going to take back that Spiral up north. Meantime, Base takes their own. These are the wells, again, a few minutes ago that were traded for the Reverie and for the Tier 1 Binding in the favor of SG. They unlock at the same time. They get captured at the same time. These teams on top of these Spirit Well captures. That left well is about to become unlocked for base to potentially take in the near future. Again, these wells were traded 1 for 1, tit for tat, well for well. But base is in position right now to potentially siege down this bot lane, but we'll see if it works out for them.
Alrighty, that bottom right well unlocking now. We'll see if they swing over there and take it. It's entirely possible they could, but nope, they're getting pushed out of lane now. So
those are,
lost
of course,
the opportunity to take that lane.
Those are the easiest wells to take, right? For the controlling team. So like the Spirit side has a really easy time to take their first 2 wells. The Mortal side is really time to take their first 2 wells. So I think right now you're going to see Basco transition over to that left well, or he's going to let Dibs do it, whichever one. But they're going to trade well for well once again, and we're going to be back even 2 wells to 2 wells.
There is Dibs. Dibs up there taking it well. You know, I don't think he's too worried. He's got his reverie up. If he needs to jump back into the fight, he can do that at a moment's notice. Cuss taking a walk by, dropping a quick ward on the Parasite. Stage 2 Parasite about to go into Stage 3 in about a minute and a half. And at that point, this could be very dangerous. If SG manages to lock down to secure a Parasite after Stage 3, that's going to be very difficult for base to come back from.
Actually started this Parasite at Stage 2. The Avalanche comes out, sunning down Cuss. The Reverie comes in. Cuss in a bad way. He falls down, and now Don Lu is in hot pursuit of 3 members of SG. But that, again, they respect the corridors. They respect what can come out from King of Mass and Zalgus, and they're forced to pull off, even though that was a 5v4. Or 5v3 even, because Mara wasn't there yet.
Yep. We did see Salas go down in that fight, unfortunately for Based. But like I was saying, if SG manages to secure a Stage 3 Parasite, that's going to give them Striders in that top lane. And you've got to keep in mind that Tier 3 binding is down on the top lane.
No place to fall back to. This could very well be a dead Shivy. The progress gate puts a little bit of distance between himself and his pursuers, but that is going to be all she wrote for base Shivy. He falls down, and now Elated on Sakari and that Dibs are forced to run away for their life. That Tier 2 binding is down, so they have a long way to hoof it back down to their Tier 3 to the utmost safety of their binding, and Evaniscus and Tiger are looking for something to come out of this. Though, you know, Volek has respawned, Yagachu's respawned as well, but this is still a power play for SG. I wonder if they'll look for a Parasite now that it's about to evolve into Stage 3.
I don't think we're going to see a Parasite. Salas is back alive again. That means that he could well, not very easily, but with the right play, he could come in there and steal it. So,
I mean, you still have a power play. Varian's still dead. He is a majority of the damage for base, so I 100% think that this is going to be a Parasite going the way of SG unless Yagachu can make a miracle happen, which Vanquishes can turn games and win them for your team. Yagachu, Don Lu, and that Dibs there are looking at trying to stop it, but I mean, that's the strength of King of Mass, zoning them out, saying, "Oh, you're going this way." He stayed bot. He was like, "I'm gonna put endless lights and captivates on this path. Oh, you're gonna try to come around the other way. I'm gonna do the exact same thing up top. You're not gonna be able to get into my zone. You shall not pass." And a Parasite taken pretty easily by SG.
Thank you, Gandalf. Yeah, Don Lu. I mean, here's the thing: is like, you know, with that. If Don Lu had been able to get in there and basically paint a giant target on his chest, you know, that would have given Yagachu the opportunity to judgment in, you know, hopefully under the effects of like a blitz or something along those lines and get that bank steal. And we know he's a very capable jungler. We know if anybody could do it, he definitely could. But like you said, King of Masks Evaniscus doing an outstanding job, zoning really well. Yep. You know, we were talking about this earlier. Evaniscus, we haven't seen a lot of King of Masks on him.
He's been playing super well, though. I'm very impressed by his play. Shivy, finally, Ambition, Justice, and Pain built out from him. His counterpart, Fayrust on Michaela, has the Ambition, Pain, Resonance, and Justice.
What is this third item on Evaniscus now? What did he build?
That looks like a Corruption.
Is that a Corruption?
Corruption, you know, Spinal Dash will tell you without a doubt that he thinks it is a sleeper OP item. I mean, the application of Mortal Strike plus a little bit of haste it gives is just a great item.
I'm about to say, in the case of a Dibs, it's outstanding. It's reducing the effectiveness of Dream Wrap by half. You know,
Dream Wrap plus the Unbreakable Shielding from Basco,
absolutely,
plus the Ambition from Shivy's variant. So, I mean, just a great pickup overall. He wants to be applying it to as many targets as possible, and he's able to do that with his Captivate, with his Endless Delights, and with his Finale.
Top lane is starting to push in. You can see the effect of that those Striders are having on that top lane. Base, they're not going to be able to ignore it for much longer. It's going to push in within the next couple of minutes.
Absolutely, the siege going rather well for SG. You know, some decent decent wave clear from base is allowing them to fend them off with only taking a few hits to their binding. But, I mean, this is playing into SG's favor. The Striders are top lane. They're pushing in. Cuss looks like he's going to come around the backside and just pressure and just say, I'm here, and make them feel uneasy. They may not look for a binding dive because it could turn out terribly for their team. Base has to stay spread out. They can't get hit by a Damnation. They can't get all hit by a Finale, into a Final Chapter, into a Great Rift, into a Chains of Fate. And they end up just giving up this binding essentially for free.
We're going to see much of the same approach, I think, on this Tier 3 binding. Boy, oh boy, they're just slowly but surely sieging base down. 28 minutes in. This is the longest game we've seen in the tournament thus far.
We will see what happens here. I mean, this is exactly where SG wants to be. Like you said, survive strong laning phase, win that game.
Yep, absolutely. So
Right.
does Based have the focus to actually to kind of like turtle in, to come down? Nice judgment there.
But can't follow it up is a Shaper that once he lands those judgments and he goes in, there's no coming out for him. He stays in there. And if you're squishy, if the enemy team is as far ahead as SG is, there's no good time to go in. Based just has to try. They're going to lose this game the way they keep playing like this if they do nothing to change it. This binding at half HP, Strider's pushing in top, Strider's pushing in bottom. This is what I want to see. Yagachu goes in, trying to go deep. Donlu gets locked down, rushing towards Zalgus. He gets nothing off before he goes down, and Fayrust is absolutely demolishing the backline of Based as well. This turns into a binding kill, Tier 3 binding kill. All bindings are down. SG has a complete open runway into the base of Based.
Yeah, this is exactly what we were talking about at the beginning of the match. You know, Based, outstanding, hard initiate comp. SG, outstanding lockdown comp. And what happened just there? Based did their best to do a hard initiation, kind of a desperation move in my opinion a little bit. But you know what? SG kept it cool.
Yep.
And they picked out the deep diving Basco, locked him down, blew him up.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta go for it. That's the thing. The way this game is going right now, I feel like Based only has two chances. It is we sit here and farm and wait forever and maybe outplay from most people's standpoint, an objectively better team fighting team than ourselves. That's not really an ideal option for them, right?
No.
They have to try to just go in, make a pick, make a play, blow someone up, catch them out off guard, any of those things. As soon as Salus landed that judgment and he saw that his target was Zalgus and he could go in on it, he went in without any hesitation. Donlu followed in without any hesitation. But SG, as you said, kept their cool, kited back. Basco, I don't even think got his ulti off. He hardly got any spells or abilities off.
Yep.
He got locked down, he got murdered. All the while, Salus and Basco just passed up on Michaela. Michaela was like, all right, I'll sit here and just auto-attack the rest of your team. Cool. So Base, just a little bit split, a little bit far apart in that fight. They chased Zalgus maybe a little bit too deep and got nothing for it.
And now that
Base
stage
needs
three
to get the advantage any way they possibly can, but it's so hard for them right now.
And now that Stage 3 Parasite is up again. You know, can Base contest here? I don't even think it's a matter of can they. They have to contest here.
If this Parasite goes the way of SG with nothing on it, that's a good pick right there, but the Damnation may heal Cuss just enough to survive
Assets
through this. Assets coming in, the Chains of Fate landed the final chapter, destroying the face of Sakari. She goes down, Dibs is forced to Reverie away, back to his base, but the hot pursuit, you have Evaniscus and Fayrust on Michaela and King of Mass. Ghosty, can you get out? We are Dream Rappy enough. You're the last remaining member. Oh, the duress, and that's going to be it. All she wrote. He goes down. Fayrust is now relentless. The mortal team has been annihilated.
I believe this is going to end up in a GG right here. Iron Rust is going to make very quick work of those cores. Front one going down, middle one going down, back one going down.
Yeah, I mean, 4 members of SG alive. They have, let's see, the shortest death timer, 20 seconds on the Sakari. They're going to work down this last core, and they're going to turn their focus to the Guardian. So SG going to come out on top of this best-of-3 series, 1-0. They're going to have a 1-game advantage, obviously, going into this second one. I mean, Base, they've got to turn it on. They have to. They looked very good. Again, great early game. They got a few kills. They had first blood at 4:45, elated. They stopped Para at 9 minutes, and they got a 2-for-1 trade. They looked very good early game.